Hello, everybody, and welcome. You are in the zone, the Biz Info Zone, and you're in the Biz Info Zone show with me, your host, Lynn Hawkins. I am the founder and dean of the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship. It's a Skyhawk Enterprises business, and we're here to serve you, the savvy social entrepreneur, to help you to express your purpose, plan your next moves, get into that action and implement and take your life and your business to the realm of prosperity. Now, if this is your first show, you may not know what we're all about. So let me just give you some background. This show has been designed for social enterprise entrepreneurships and entrepreneurs in order to help you to build bigger business and do bigger things in the world. One of the ways that we do that is to bring you the strategies, the tips, the tools, and all of the things that I believe and my guests believe that will help you in order to do that and do it with more ease, more grace, and allow you the opportunity to actually be your best self, your biggest self. And today, we're going to talk about whether or not you're attracting your ideal clients and your perfect customers, and if they are in fact finding you easily. And we're here with my guests, Jan Stringer and Alan Hickman. And let me just tell you a little bit about them. They are amazing people who are president and co-founders of Perfect Customers Incorporated, and they're actually interested in helping you to eliminate costly sales and marketing mistakes and take the struggle out of reaching your business goals. And after years of the corporate experience, both of them have come to work with a global audience, sharing practical and intuitive ways to attract more clients and customers, and those that would be described as your perfect fit. Jan is an author of a global best-selling book called Attracting Perfect Customers, The Power of Strategic Synchronicity, as well as Jan and Alan co-authored a book called Being Attraction. And you'll hear more about this, what love has to do with business and marketing. You know, that's one of my favorite topics. And they're here today to deliver their knowledge, their breadth and width of expertise in speaking engagements and strategic attraction, which are the programs that they deliver. And they're here to talk to us today about doing what you love, fulfilling your purpose, and while making a profit and making a difference in the world, taking the struggle out of reaching your business goals and stop making those costly mistakes and trying to build dead-end relationships. And they're going to talk about showing you how to connect with your invisible clients. And they're telling me that you're going to learn the #1 strategy for creating lucrative, loyal, raving fans. So help me welcome right now our guests, Jan Stringer and Alan Hickman. Hi, guys.
Hi, great to be here.
Great to
Well,
be
glad to
here.
have you. Glad to have you. And let me just open up the discussion by asking, how did you get on this journey, this desire to bring awareness around finding your perfect customer?
Well, mostly through my own experience of attracting less than perfect customers and knowing the difference between one that I can't wait to pick up the phone and talk to or meet with, and the difference between that and someone that, I kind of go, oh gosh, not them again, and I wanted to really just fill my whole business with people that I love doing business with and love doing business with me. And that's how it all got started.
Oh, amazing. Always love to hear the stories about how people started to teach what they've experienced and I know that that is one of the biggest reasons that I'm in this space as well. Learning how to build business, coming out of corporate America, thinking that, I knew it all. I really had to take a step back
Yeah.
to not only figure out who it was that I really wanted to bring into the world, but identify my perfect customer.
Right.
So, guys, help us out. Get us started with filling in the blanks about clients and customers who are your 100% perfect, 100% of the time customers. Where does it start?
So, that's kind of a bold claim to say that 100% of my clients and customers are 100% perfect 100% of the time, because when I say that, I can honestly say it because I've learned how to create a plan that we're going to share with everybody today. And because through my own past experiences of experiences that were less than perfect, I was able to really get clear about who's a perfect fit for me. And since my work is centered around the law of attraction, I knew that if it's perfect for me, what my values, what's important to me, is important to the people that I serve. And so, by virtue of the law of attraction, when I'm clear about what that is, then I can draw them to me. And I relate to what you said, Lynn, about years of corporate experience. I too am a veteran, let's say, of the corporate world. And that's really what got me going, is that when, after many, many years of being in corporate America, as a sales rep, as a sales manager, and ultimately as a VP of sales, I knew what it meant to check my soul at the door every day, because I wasn't, even though I had great success and I enjoyed and learned a lot in the jobs that I had, I wasn't truly passionate about what I was doing. And so that's how I just really got started on the journey, as I stepped, off the big cliff, away from that corporate lifestyle and income to do what I'm doing today. So that's how we got started, and we are going to share with everybody today exactly how you can make that same bold statement that I did, that you can all your relationships can be a perfect fit if you just answer some of our simple questions that we're going to share with you.
Beautiful. Well, Alan, as business owners, we're always wanting new clients and customers for our business. And I'm sure everyone at one time or another feels like they're searching for new clients without any results. You mentioned that you help entrepreneurs see our invisible clients. How can we see these elusive clients and customers?
It's a vibrational thing. When we change our inner vibration, seemingly magically, those perfect customers that turns out were always there, which is really in the subtitle of the book, Attracting Perfect Customers, The Power of Strategic Synchronicity. And so when you strategically begin to discover or define, delineate, and have a plan for outlining who your perfect customer is and what they look like, suddenly, seemingly, they start to magically appear. Truth is, it's just strategic synchronicity. They were always there. I just wasn't vibrating at a level where I could see them and they could see me. So it's a matter of changing my vibration, and that's what this strategic attraction planning process supports us in doing.
Well, I too am a believer and a person who works in the realm of universal laws and the law of attraction. And I love this whole conversation. It makes me think about some of the things that we do kind of put ourselves in, and that's the space of doubt and fear. And tell us a little bit, either one of you, what that does to our vibrational level when we're operating from some place other than the other side of doubt and fear.
Well, I
Well,
think, well,
go ahead, honey.
I'll jump in. um, that one, well, just kind of tagging on what Alan said a minute ago about changing our vibration. doubt and fear is one of those lower vibrations. And so basically, I become more invisible to those potential clients, and they are invisible to me. And because my vibration is kind of taking me out of the ball game. And we call that, we have a name for that, we call it a blinder. And that all of us have blinders that prevent us from seeing that potentially perfect customer. An example of a blinder that I had, that when I removed it, I was like, oh my gosh, customers are everywhere. We had moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we were new to town when we moved here. We didn't know anybody here, but since we have a global business, I wasn't really that concerned about marketing in my local community, even though that's how I started the business when I started the business in Houston back in the year 2000. I did lots of local marketing. But, you know, with the internet and all of that, you can sit behind your computer and connect with people all over the globe. So here we are in Santa Fe and doing our business, and we wanted to change our technology over to the latest and greatest customer data service, you know, resource management software. And so in the process of moving the client list over off our old antiquated dinosaur of a website onto this new sophisticated state-of-the-art high-tech software, we discovered that the very thing that we teach is at the root of all marketing, and my definition of marketing is building relationship. And what had happened is all of these people that supposedly we were in connection with all over the globe, I had fallen out of relationship with. I mean, there was people on the list that probably didn't even remember why they signed up for my list. And I hear that from other internet marketers, you know, that's, you know, happens all the time. But nevertheless, I wasn't awake and aware to that. So when we transferred over, all of a sudden I realized being out of relationship with these people caused me that each one of them would have to opt in to our list like brand new. So in essence, we didn't have any clients. We had a list, right? But we didn't have
Uh-huh.
people who were choosing us actively because of our relationship. And we started slowly getting to rebuild our list. Well, that was you know, kind of a, you know, not an overnight process. And in the meantime, I'm going around going, I have no customers. Where are they? I've lost all my customers. Nobody's out there. Used to, we could send out an email and all these people would just stand in line to get in one of our classes. And now, like, I'm lost. I can't see anybody. I can't see anybody. Well, I took that blinder off. I realized I was programming myself that I didn't have any customers, you know, because I kept affirming it and saying, where are they? I don't have any. So I took that blinder off and realized I have a whole local community that I haven't even introduced myself to. Most of the people don't even know who I am. So it really became clear to me one night. I went to a neighborhood potluck with a community that we went to on Sundays. And at the potluck, this one lady is visiting with me, and she's practically having to pull out of me what I do for a living. I mean, she's like, well, Jan, what do you do? And I mean, I realize I'm very arrogant. I'm like this other blinder called arrogant. You know, I'm out in the world, I'm global. But here in my own community, my own hometown, nobody knew who I was. So she pulled it out, and I told her I'm a business coach, I'm a trainer, I'm a teacher, a speaker, and she said, well, you know, I've been wanting a coach for my business, and I wonder, could we make an appointment? She's like asking me to make an appointment. So, okay, this is so terrible. I hate to even admit it, but it's true. It was my part of my blinder removal, and I'm driving home that night, and I say to myself, how many more people are in my local community just like that, that I have been invisible to, and they have been invisible to me. And that was where this whole concept of attracting perfect customers is part of me taking off my blinder of what I'm saying And I identify those blinders now as anything where I say I can't, I won't, I'll never, I shouldn't, I
Mm.
always, I already know that, or just anything, of those kind of statements is a blinder that keeps me from seeing those elusive and invisible, supposedly invisible clients. And guess what? I took my blinder off, and we have tons of clients in our local community now. And I mean, we see them in the restaurant, and they come to our workshops, and they're clients. So it's really shifted since then. So that's an example of what we're talking about here.
I love that. It's one of the best stories around the shift that I've actually heard. That is so great. And what you're really saying here is that you've developed a strategy that basically something that we can all apply to
Right.
to increase our opportunities.
Yes.
I talk often about this formula for business success, and part of what it is that I teach is around the EOI formula. We've all heard, revenue and return on investment. And
ROI.
I'm like, wait a minute, what?
All of that.
Well, your EOI is for me, one of the strategies that actually brings you to the point of more income as well. And it's exposure and getting out into the community, like you talked about, increases your opportunities, the O, that
Yes.
increases the income potential.
Right.
And so, how does your strategy end some of the suffering that entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, kind of go through and keep them from making the costly mistakes in their business that really are part of the statistics that we see now that the Small Business Administration is quoting about business failure? How does your strategy end some of this suffering?
Yeah.
Well, I have a statistical answer for that.
Love
And
that.
yeah, I mean, what Jan was just talking about, doing marketing in our local community, I can go into our Infusionsoft customer resource management system now, and I have tagged every new customer and every new contact. And I noticed just the other day that we have over 500 people in our database who know who we are. We have their phone numbers. I could call them up and they would know who I am. And so that's really what ends the suffering is Jan taking the blinder off, both of us going out and getting in front of people and talking. I go to a Friday networking lunch program, and I just noticed that every Friday I'm at lunch talking to 3 or 4 people over the lunch table about what I do. And a couple of pieces that not only have we added to our list and added lots more customers, which has increased our revenue, but I've actually get to practice
Mhm.
speaking to people and sharing what I do, who I am, what I'm up to. And I have noticed just out of the practice of Friday networking, I have gotten really good at shifting my vibration so that when I show up in front of somebody, my vibration is completely different. I've got more confident, I'm more vibrant, I'm more passionate about what I'm saying, and that gets communicated. And then what I notice is I get more what we used to call in corporate inbound calls. I get more people, just like Janice, asking me, well, how can I do your certification training? And so that's really what ends the suffering. It shortens the suffering, shall we say. Because a
Right.
lot of part of the suffering is that you actually do have to get out there. You have to get out there and talk to people. That is the key. And what's missing for most people is, well, what do I say? What if this happens? That's where all the fear and doubt comes in. And so our strategic attraction planning process, which we'll go through in just a minute here, actually answers those questions. It gives you the content of what you're going to say, to be able to truly speak authentically and honestly from your heart about what's important to you. That's what this process does, is it exercises that muscle of being able to make decisions based on what I'm passionate about, what's important to me. And that's what vibrates. That's what changes that vibration and shows up in the other person and has them say, well, geez, I need a business coach. How can I buy your product?
And that's what you want to happen, right? And, most social entrepreneurs, too, have the thing that is beyond what they actually do in business. It's the thing that is one of the heartstrings that they've decided to connect with, a cause or a higher purpose to the work that they do. And I think you covered it very clearly as to what stops people. And it is that fear of, am I going to say the wrong thing? Am I going to do the wrong thing? And you really have to practice those things, and getting out there and being amongst other people gives you those opportunities. I love that.
Yeah.
So, gosh, I am very curious. You mentioned a couple of times about two things. Your number one strategy that will kind of take us through this learning curve to give us those, and maybe that's it. My second question was, what is the strategic attraction planning process? And maybe that is the number one strategy, but
It is.
okay, great. Then lead us down that path.
Okay, I'll get us started on that. Yeah, the number one strategy for attracting lucrative, loyal, raving fans is also what we call and have written about in both of our books, and we call that a strategic attraction plan. And so, if you're writing or listening, I'm going to give you 5 parts to the plan. And of course, if you just want to tune in and not do any writing, we have a free resource for you that will outline it and will give you details on how to get that for yourself. So, what this strategic attraction plan is a tool that I can use over and over to get clear about what is a perfect customer for me. And it really is based on the a relationship. So it could be a customer relationship, or if you call them clients, either one. It could be based on a business partnership. It could be based on a romantic partnership. Hence, Alan and I used the same strategic attraction plan, and he went from being a perfect customer to being a perfect partner. So that's another show. We'll do that later. But
Cool.
any kind of relationship that you want to attract is applicable for this plan. So I'll just, for practicality purposes, refer to it as attracting your perfect customer for today. But if you wanted to fill in the blank with a different kind of relationship, have at it. So the first part of the plan, once you determine the type of relationship you do want to attract, is to, number one, describe the qualities, characteristics, and attributes of my perfect customer. So I'll say it again, describe the qualities, characteristics, and attributes of my perfect customer. So what's a quality, what's a characteristics? Some of the things that come to mind when I think of that is they're fun, they have a business that's established or newly expanding. They want to grow. They like my coaching. They take my coaching. Um, they are willing to pay my fees. They're easy to work with. Um, just you could have pages and pages. They're family oriented. Any details that are important to me will be important to my perfect customers. And so this plan is giving me an opportunity to take my pen in hand and just really write, let it flow, come through me to like I was painting a picture, going from a blank canvas to filling in all the different nuances of my picture of that perfect client. All the colors and are they a certain gender or an age, or do they live in a certain place, or do they drive a certain car? What kind of business are they in? What kind of income is their business producing? Anything that's important to me, again, isn't going to be important to them. So I'm getting clear about what's perfect for me by part number one. And so the buzzword on that is to describe, the first word. And so just let your pen fly, don't edit it, and have fun with it.
I
Alan,
love
you
that.
want to give us number two?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say step number one is usually as deep as most business trainings go.
True.
And that is extremely transformational step because first of all, it's like, you mean I get to say what's a perfect customer for me? That in itself is transformational, and that's one of the shifts in vibration, inner vibration, and we call it being shift, that you get to make by actually realizing that I get to say and then noticing what those qualities and characteristics and attributes are. That is amazing. But step number two allows you to go even deeper. And step number two is what makes me and my perfect customer tick. Tick. And that that question is what gets me out of bed in the morning? What really lights me up? What am I passionate about? What am I doing when I'm really having fun? So you write all of those things down, and out of that, you get a clear picture of what really lights you up. In the book, Attracting Perfect Customers, The Power of Strategic Synchronicity, Jan first introduced the lighthouse, we call the lighthouse metaphor. And it's about how standing on the shore firm and strong and radiating your light out is the way to attract the boats that are out to sea to your safe harbor. And so step two is what we call turning on the light of my lighthouse, really getting clear and focused. What makes me tick? Because if the law of attraction is like attracts like, then what do you think would make your perfect customer tick?
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love the analogy of the lighthouse. Isn't that just something that every small business owner would love to see themselves as the lighthouse with the light shining? And I love the way that you brought it home with really bringing in the ships to your safe harbor. And these are the ships, the customers that are your perfect customers because you described them already. I love that.
Exactly. It's that's why I love the subtitle of the book is The Power of Strategic Synchronicity. So this is the strategy for having the synchronicity show up that's already out there. So
Mm-hmm.
you can literally fill the room of your workshop that's a few months away by doing a strategic attraction plan for attracting your perfect workshop participants. And so today you can fill the room with those people. And then when you get through all 5 steps, imagine standing in front of a room of those people. It is truly transformational. This is really it shortens the suffering of all kinds of business challenges.
A great example of this part of the plan, I was working with 3 members of a newly forming financial planning company, and they had all worked together in a larger firm and split off to work in this new firm as a threesome. And I came in to work with them on creating who's going to be their new perfect customers. And when we got to this part of the plan, the senior member of the firm, whose name was Gil, he put his pencil down or his pen and he paused and he looks up and he says, I have to admit something. I've been dreading for the last 2 weeks, knowing we were going to have this session. I have been really dreading coming to this session. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how could how could that be? And I said, well, why is that? And he says, well, because all week, the last 2 weeks, every time the phone ring, I'm asking myself before I pick it up, is that a perfect customer, or am I going to have to get rid of somebody? And that was what he thought, about this session was going to be like that. Oh, you're going to get rid of some and keep or get some new. But he says, asking this question, I've never asked this question to any of my clients, so I really wouldn't know what makes them tick. And I said, well, give me an example of one of the customers that maybe you thought that you talked to recently. He says, well, I don't know. This is probably not a perfect customer, but just this morning I talked to one of our customers that we nicknamed Grouchy. And the reason I brought this up is that I'm not sure if he's a perfect customer because he's always a little doom and gloom story every time he comes to the call, and we all joke when he calls into the office, oh, there's Grouchy, it's your day to take him, and we kind of passed him around. And so today I talked to him and I said, what can I do for you? He says, well, I'd like to cash in an investment for $50,000. And I just, I've worked with him for 20 years, so we have kind of a good relationship. So I joked with him and I said, well, why do you need $50,000? And he said, well, I've got 3 kids, and one of them needs a new car. They just turned 16, and another one is getting married, and another one is starting college. So I wanted, some money to give to each of my kids. And so I paused and I asked my client, Gil, I said, so if you were going to guess, I know you said you'd never ask him this question of what makes him tick, Grouchy tick. I said, but if you were going to guess what made him tick, what would you say? He says, well, just based on this story, I would say his family. And he said, Grouchy has been in the financial planning business with me or working with me for 20 years. And somebody that's done that is committed to leaving it better for their family, leaving a legacy for them, and and having it better for their children than they might have had when they were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, so what makes him tick, I would guess, is leaving a legacy for his family. And then all of a sudden he gets like, like this deer in the headlights look. And I said, you just saw something for yourself. What was it? He said, well, that's the same as for me. I got into financial planning because I wanted it to be better for my kids than what I had. I grew up very poor. And he said, I just saw that Grouchy, who I thought was in relationship with me for the last 20 years because it was lucrative, that we tick to the same thing. That
Mm-hmm.
what's important to him is important to me. And we're committed to the same thing of leaving a legacy for our family. And the 2 other ladies in the room, they said, wow, they got the same thing for them. And one of them said, when next time Grouchy calls, I'm not going to think of him as Grouchy. I'm going to think of him as he's leaving a legacy for his family. And that is the power of this part of the plan. Like Alan says, you go deeper than most people ever go. Most people, if they do part one, are doing really well. But every one of us that are in a business are committed to something so much so that we want to give our gifts inside of our own businesses. And the people that do business with us are committed to the same thing, whether we've asked them that question or not. That is the glue that sticks us together with our perfect clients. And that's how I can say that 100% or 100% perfect because all of my clients, truthfully, Lynn, have become loyal raving fans, and I don't even want to call them a client anymore. I just say they're loyal friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this part of the plan does. It helps us to all connect the dots of our interest, our personal passions in our life and know that we're in this business for a big why, and our clients are attracted to us because of our light. That's our light in our lighthouse.
Oh, that was beautiful. What a great story. And I think that anyone would be able to see the value of going through this process just by hearing that story.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
there's three more steps. I think we
Yes.
better hit them really.
Yes. Oh my
We
God.
have a whole certification training program that teaches entrepreneurs and coaches and whoever is interested to go deeper into the plan. So, we'll tell you about that also later. But shall I jump into part three
Jump
then?
into
Step
number
three.
3. Yes.
Okay. It just gets better.
Ah,
So
Get ready.
woohoo.
now, step three is what we call the paradigm shifting part of the plan. One person called it like exfoliating. But the actual title of this part of the plan is to specify what I want my perfect customers to expect of me. So to specify what I want my perfect customers to expect of me. Now, most of the time, we've been brought up to think, how can I feel your need? How can I bend and shape and become the answer to what you need? And this is just the opposite. This is what do I want my perfect customers to expect of me. So just remember that the tip for this part of the plan is that my perfect customers want me to have what I want. So, what do I want? So, why this is the paradigm shifting part of the plan, Lynn, is that I give up my right to complain. I can't point the finger anymore and say, oh, I didn't get what I wanted. You're not giving me what I want. Well, guess what? I'm not getting what I want because I'm probably not asking or saying what that is, or I'm not making it clear in my vibration. I'm murky, or some people say, well, I don't know what I really want. I just know I don't want that. you know,
Mhm.
this is
Mhm.
that part of the plan where I take full responsibility for everything I attract. And the good news is if I'm attracting everything I want, yay, yay for me. If I'm not attracting what I want, yay for me too, because I have the opportunity to turn it around. And so, that t-shirt I wore for many years, it says victim across it. The struggle, that's when I was doing all the struggling and having it hard. This is that part of the plan where we give up the right to be the victim. We give up our right to blame or complain about others for me not getting what I want. That's what part three is about.
Oh my goodness. I love it. Taking full, unabashed responsibility for your life. And not just for where you are now. Where you are now is a reflection of everything you've thought and done up to this point. But now, regardless of all of that, you get to take responsibility for what happens every day that is yet to come.
Right.
And I think that people really will give themselves the benefit of, okay, I'll take responsibility for all of this, but adding it into what you're just describing, oh my goodness, with identifying your perfect customer, identifying yourself and what you would like to bring to the table, and then putting this piece with it, yes, the energy is starting to see some spin here to
Mhm.
take us to the next one. I can't wait to hear what's number 4.
All right. The cliffhanger. So, Alan, your turn. You're up.
Well, step number 4 is declare who you have to be to attract what you say you want. And Lynn, I love what you
Ooh.
just surfaced about this because this really is the next step. This is where you get to take responsibility to find the seeds of success in your doubts and your fears. Step
That's
number,
deep.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love it.
it really is. One of
Say
our,
that one more time. Say that one more time.
okay,
You,
it's finding the seeds of success in all your doubts and fears because they're there. That's why you have them. It's not that I want to get rid of my doubts and fears. It's that I want to go, oh, okay, there's a doubt and a fear. Isn't that interesting? Now, where's the seed of success in that? Oh, like Jan talked about, a fear or a doubt about networking locally, actually being seen and going out and, what if I don't say the right thing? Those are all the doubts and fears. And then we go out and network and we fail, and in the failure is the seed to success. So if I'm not willing to look at that failure, glance at that, and then take responsibility to find the seed of success in that failure, in my doubts and fears. That's what I loved about what you just said, Lynn, how you're really getting how this all connects together. And so step 4 in declaring who I'm being is now that I've identified, who I've been being was afraid of networking locally. And who I am now is a local networking queen, a genius.
You're a queen,
Right, a
huh?
queen. Well, I was thinking of, right,
of either one of us.
I'm a right for me. Let's use I'm a god,
Try
networking
that again.
god.
Okay.
You even surpassed the kingdom and went
Whoa.
to
Yes,
It went right
goddom.
to the top, the queen.
got to go to
I
where the
love it.
power comes from.
I love it. One of the
Yeah.
things that I also kind of spend time in my discussions and especially the empowerment discussions is giving yourself permission to be who you were called to be. And it is that king or that queen of yourself. And having that, I love that you were talking about finding the seeds of success in your doubts and your fears because they tell a story about that's the story that you've been telling yourself that you
Yes.
now get to be Shakespeare and write a new
Right.
story of empowerment and success and those seeds being nurtured to it starts right there
Yes.
being
Exactly.
nurtured so that you can grow to really step into the permission that you've given yourself to be that powerful person that you know is within you. And if we're entrepreneurs out here trying to do business and trying to do more good in the world, we really have to decide, is it now? And do it. And if it's later, that's okay. Get your stuff in order, go through this process, and then move to that next level. Because if you don't believe that if you won't give yourself permission to be the who that you know is out there doing your best work, what did you say? Instead of being the answer to what you think your customer needs, be who you would like to be for them. That's the better you, the best you. I love that.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my gosh.
kids today talk about keeping it real.
Yeah.
This is about reality. This transcends positive thinking and connects with who I really am. Like really, no kidding. This
And
is who I
really, it
am.
ties back to what makes us tick is
Yeah.
that the attraction plan is building on each step. And once we get to that real sweet spot of what makes me tick, then I can stand in that place, creating my being moment to moment. So, the tick, once I get that, that's kind of like the common thread that is through my whole life. It doesn't change. But the being changes moment to moment. When I wake up in the morning and I have a bad hair day and I'm being poor, pitiful Jan, and I've got to have a being shift right away because that is not who I want to be perceived as when I come on
Yeah.
Lynn Hawkins Google Hangout, for example. And when I told somebody yesterday, I said, you wouldn't think of walking out of the house without brushing your teeth, would you? Oh, no, they said. And I said, well, how you don't, from now on, you don't want to consider walking out of the house without brushing your teeth and creating your being. Who are you going to be being in the world when you walk out the door or walk into your office? So that's
Jan has,
the beauty of this part of the plan.
Jan has a great story about one of her first networking meetings here in Santa Fe. Do you
Well,
want
I
to
think
just
that's
share that?
what you were trying to build
Yes,
on that story.
that's
I
what I
got
was
that,
trying to
and
get
it
to.
turned into a queen somehow. But um, we play with this part of the plan, and it's kind of like giving ourselves a title. Like who I'm being, and then I give it, the title. It could be the title of a movie or a character, or a superhero or something. And when I took off that blinder about local marketing, I was on my way to one of the networking meetings for the first time, didn't know anybody, feeling that little, thing in the pit of my stomach where I'm like, oh, I should have worn the other outfit. My hair is flat. I won't know what to say. You know, Forget that I've been a business owner successfully for 10 plus years. I'm just still a little, torn up in the belly about who I'm being in that moment, which I can shift. But I called a friend of mine, Patty. I hope she's listening. Hi, Patty. And she and I do this to support one another. And I told her, "Oh, I'm being poor, pitiful Jan on the way to a networking meeting." And she says, "Well, who would you like to be being when you walked in that room?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that stuff that I teach. Oh right. Let's see. I'm like, here's who I want to be being and who I want to be seen as. I want to be seen as a savvy goddess of business." And that, I had a little tood with that. And, I noticed kind of like my chest puffed out and I felt a little more confident. I went, yeah, I'm the savvy goddess of business. And so here I am and get there and I'm like, get out of the car now. I'm savvy goddess of business. I'm not all that other stuff that I was angsting over. And there were some other ladies. I've never been to this event or this hotel even, and other ladies were walking across the parking lot at the same time. And one of them asked me, "Oh, could you tell me where the Women of Santa Fe networking group is meeting?" And I'm thinking to myself, they think I know. Like, wow, I must be being a savvy goddess of business because I look like a savvy business owner, right? So that's how it works. We can shift our being moment to moment and really play with it. And play, I think, is an essential part of getting out of my own way to really be something more enjoyable for myself, even, and especially for other people. So, part 4, that's the key word or the tip, play.
Love
So
it.
let's see. We better give you part number 5, and then we'll,
Yes.
because we're got the cliffhanger part. Now, part 5, we had to add a part 5 because in our first 2 books we only had 4 parts, the 4 steps that we've already shared. And then we realized that so many of our clients were saying that they thought that was it. Just do the work of the 4 parts of the plan, just lay it out and clear, and I'm like, well, there is one more piece. I just assumed everybody knew, but then I found out, nope, not everybody knew. I needed to tell them. So I added a 5th step, and the 5th step is the catalyst or the activator of the whole plan, and it's called take attractive actions and avoid dazzling distractions. So take attractive actions. An attractive action is something that when I'm really entrenched in my attraction plan, I'm clear about who my perfect customer is, about what makes me tick, I know what I want, and I've declared my being, then I'm ready to take an action. Otherwise, if I'm taking it from that fear place or that doubt place or any of the things that are not on my attraction plan, then I have the potential of taking an action that is going to take me in a dazzling distraction. I mean, we all have done it, the shiny ball syndrome, they call it. Well, a dazzling distraction is something that takes me off my path, away from what is true for me. It doesn't matter if everybody's doing it. Everybody else is doing it in your life, but if it's not right for me, it's not right for me. And an attractive action is a choice, an action I take that is in alignment and is congruent with everything I've written on my 4 parts of the attraction plan. And that's a whole kit and caboodle, Lynn. That's the strategic attraction plan.
Wow, I love it. I love it tremendously. And that attractive actions do when you're in that space. I mean, you have to be in the right space to think about taking attractive action. Because even if you start out and you're not, and you're thinking, okay, this is supposed to be attractive action, you're in that shift.
Right.
So that is amazing. I love it. And really, being in congruency and in alignment with heart and mind is where you start that higher vibration. And doing these 5 steps, I love them. Well, let's tell our audience how they can get this.
Okay.
You can go to skyhawkenterprises.biz/perfect customer, and you can sign up and download your copy of, what is it, the 5 steps?
Yeah, the strategic attraction planning process. So it's 5 steps for strategic attraction.
5 steps for strategic attraction, and I love it. I actually did that yesterday and downloaded the book and started going through it, and now I am so juiced to get back to it and complete it for myself, and I love it. Now, you talked about, I want to make sure that we've got enough time to talk about 2 other things. 1, the new book, and 2, the certification program, because I would love for everyone to know what it is that you're doing through the certification program, because this is something that I think that anyone who's trying to figure out how to better market their business or would like the opportunity to teach others is just absolutely perfect. So tell us first about the second book that you've just done.
Well, I'll start out there, Alan. If you want to chime in, let me know. We're doing a book giveaway of our second book, Being Attraction: What Love Has to Do with Business and Marketing. Oh, there Alan's showing it. There you go. And we're going to be giving away an electronic version of that book. And in addition to that, we're also raising funds for a charity called the Hashu Foundation, which has a project that they call Plan B. And as you see from our book cover, that we love the bee. And we even wrote a whole book about how the bee is a great metaphor for being, which we just talked about. And so we're combining our efforts to give our book and give our tool and our value to you as a listener. And we're asking if it calls to you to donate money to the Hush Shoes Foundation's Plan B project. And what that project does, it empowers women in in third world countries, underprivileged areas, people that might not have an opportunity to ever start a business. They're teaching them how to start a business raising honeybees. And not only they teach them the art of making honey or raising bees, they're teaching them how to extract the honey and then market it to things like hotels, airlines, things like that. So it's really transforming whole communities of women and their families and their communities. The ripple effect is huge, and there's been several successful projects already implemented. One in Pakistan, one in Houston, Texas, and so we are so enamored with this organization and what they're doing that we wanted to use our book to put in the hands of you, to empower you to raise the honey in your business, whatever that looks like in your own product terms, and at the same time, give $1, give 5, whatever is in your heart. Any contribution will help, and that's what we're we're doing as one of our projects.
Yeah, our goal is to actually give away 100,000 copies of Being Attraction, What Love Has to Do with Business and Marketing, and raise $50,000, which will train 60 women to become successful honeybee farmers in northern Pakistan. It's absolutely an amazing combination. And what you get with, for example, if you register for our free gift, or if you download a free copy of our book, along with the attraction planning process, you get access to an strategic attraction action live group coaching class with Jan or myself. And so, Lynn, that would be something I would love to see you come to one of those classes. I tell you, when you actually come and have us work with you step by step, going through the process that we've just introduced, and you do it, you just get a taste for what's possible here. And that, of course, leads then to our certification training program.
Yeah, just a little touch on our certification training program is a result of so many people coming to us and saying, how can I offer this to my own clientele? And also, how can I learn to use strategic attraction planning in a deeper way? Because as you can probably tell, each one of those steps can go quite deep in your own understanding. And being able to share that with your own clientele and seeing the light on their face and the lights in their eyes and knowing that they can have a business that they love doing with business with people that enjoy working with them too. That's what the SACAP program is all about. It's a 12-week program of week-to-week training and then a whole year of support in learning to build your business, do sales through strategic attraction planning methods, and also at the end you're certified to even offer it yourself in your own clients one-on-one, or whether you're a keynote speaker or a workshop teacher, whatever, however you want to do it, teleseminars. You get the right to say how you want to use it once you complete the training. So it's a huge, huge life-altering change and value-added program.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jan and Alan. Count me in. I've already downloaded the book. I'm going to make my contribution and get the Being Attraction. And just, we're in community. When you talk about relationship, and I want our audience to know this, when you're talking about relationship, it's not just the relationships with your customers and clients that you want to establish and maintain. There are also peer and associate relationships that have tremendous value for supporting and helping you to grow your business. So I want you to keep that in mind as well. And Jan and Alan, I do a lot of work with nonprofit organizations as well, and I see so many synergies as to how a nonprofit organization can do more attracting their ideal clients and donors to help them to grow. And I love what you guys are doing. I want to say thank you for bringing your knowledge, your expertise, your love, your heart, and your being here with us today. To our audience, thank you for joining us today. I'm Lynn Hawkins with the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship, and we're in the zone for the Savvy Social Entrepreneur, talking about attracting your perfect customer with Jan Stringer and Alan Hickman. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank my dear friend Lynn Sanders for connecting us.
Yes.
I truly appreciate that. And thank you so much, you two. I appreciate you. I love you for the information that you've shared. And there's so much more that we can do together to get strategic attraction out to the world in a bigger way, and more people really bringing their vibrational level up and using those things like doubt and fear as seeds of greatness. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you again next week when we have, who do we have next week? This is a good one. We've got Deb DeBase, who's going to be sharing some information on a new crowdfunding platform. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Okay, bye.
Bye.